Yeah, take that, Andrew. Watch yourself. Your game's slipping.
You better chickadee check yourself before you riggedy wreck yourself. There he is.
Are we wrecking ourselves or are we checking ourselves? I need to make sure beforehand.
That's up to you.
I mean, the advised order is to chickadee check yourself before you riggedy wreck yourself. But
yes,
you can make it your own, you know?
They're not sequential. It's chickadee check yourself so you don't riggedy wreck yourself. Is more of the one-to-one reading of the now infamous utterance. I don't actually know who... What's that from? I mean, I know it's like kind of like a rap term.
Yeah, that's just in, like...
It's Ice Cube. It's Ice Cube.
Are you
Check
positive?
Yourself. Well, Ice Cube's song, Check Yourself, with the lyrics, chickadee check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Oh, it's not riggedy wreck yourself. It's like...
I think that's like later on in the song.
Yeah, it does look like that's it, though. Chickadee check yourself before you riggedy wreck yourself. Not bad.
Yep, later on in the song he does say riggedy wreck yourself.
And we
Classic.
are going to be doing plenty of both of those on the 100th episode of the Voluntary Viewing podcast, recorded on June 21st, 2020, Father's Day. Here on the podcast today, the Centennial Podcast, we have America's dad, Andrew Clark.
America, I'm not mad at you. I'm mostly just disappointed.
I didn't. I mean, I knew that one was going to be Andrew.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I, for some reason, don't give off dad vibes. Maybe it's my disdain for children.
I think you just ruined Lucas's next intro.
Nope,
Oh,
actually, my prepared one still works, actually.
Yay.
Also on the podcast, we have the father of the modern entertainment landscape, Ryan Holtz.
Yeah, I'd rather be a figurative father than a literal one. That sounds way better in every way.
I'm the father that shows up when you're 14 and you're an orphan and immune to a deadly outbreak, and I have to take you across the country to the Fireflies.
Spoilers. Plot of Last of Us 2 is now spoiled.
And the plot of The Last of Us, a 7-year-old video game.
That's the plot
Andrew,
of Last of Us 2.
I don't think you understand.
Oh yeah, that's actually also just the plot of The Last of Us 2.
Yep.
It just happens all over
I
again.
wanted to go into The Last of Us 2 completely blind, and now you're throwing spoilers for the prequel at me? Come on.
Yeah.
Well, what happens in The Last of Us 2 is that COVID-19 does actually break out. It's just, canonically 20 or so years in the future. And Ellie also happens to be immune to COVID-19.
Nah.
So then Joel has to take her all the way back to Boston
There you go.
to get a vaccine.
Yeah. Makes sense. And that's how you make vaccines, right? You find people that
Are immune.
that have a
and you
biological mutation that allows them to be immune, and you
replicate it.
destroy their brain? Logic.
All right, you got immunity in your blood. We got to take all of it.
Gotta take all that blood.
What do you mean all of it? Like, here, we're gonna have to hang you upside down for this
Yeah.
one.
Well, okay, what if you just took out a 1 IV bag every 4 days? You could get more than my current body's worth of blood that way.
Yeah.
What if you were in an underground bunker and the company you worked for manufactured weapons with your blood that they took every so often, and you used it to fight the multidimensional ghosts?
But not just blood, right? Also your piss and shit.
Yes, piss
Of
and
course.
shit and sweat,
Oh, yeah.
but mostly just piss and shit.
I mean, honestly, sweat is mostly just Monster Energy. Also,
Oh.
the last...
I was gonna say we should work in some other PlayStation exclusives. I mean, God of War definitely works for this. It's a sad dad sim.
Ah.
Are you gonna do it though?
I mean, I had another.
I'm just the ideas man.
Yeah, I feel like you gotta execute.
I don't implement.
No, that's too sexual. I can't do that one.
No.
I was trying to be like, and I'm the guy who always mashes the boy button, but no.
Oh God.
What's less sexual? Last but not least, Daddy to Many, Lucas the writer.
As you can tell by how he had to like backtrack off of a child sex joke and like contemplated it on air and decided against it.
There you go.
Daddy.
You know it.
Do you throw that stiff arm?
Every
And then Jerry
goddamn
Jones.
day.
Jerry Jones calls you a daddy.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh my God.
Yes.
No. And we got America's dad, we got the father figure of media, and we have Dak Prescott, who is just such a daddy when he throws that stiff arm.
Ain't
He dad-dacked him.
dad.
When Dak throws that stiff arm, he dad-dacks him.
Definitely dad-dacked.
Also, just want to give a quick shout out to the secret fourth member of the podcast who's been here the whole time. Say hi to Nestor, everybody.
And you know who Nestor calls daddy?
Jesus. He immigrated from Cuba, legally, of course.
Legally, of course. And now he's Matt Gates' whole world.
There's a non-zero chance in my mind that, like, this was set up as a gotcha years in the making.
Yeah, he was just like begging someone to say the weird specific sentence, he doesn't know what it's like to raise a person of color.
Yep.
Like, he's like, oh, even though he like definitely didn't raise him, he was like 13 or something.
Well, he was 12 when he immigrated to America, and they don't really know
but-
when his mother died. So yeah, like 14, 15, who knows? Like, yeah. And like they were speaking in a like broad term of to know what it's like to teach children of color that they're going to be treated differently for the color of their skin. Which I highly doubt Matt Gates ever taught his kid.
Yeah.
His quote unquote kid.
He probably just like told him the entire time. He's like, let me tell you, Nestor, buddy, you're going to have it just as good as anyone.
Let me tell you, Nestor, because of affirmative action, you're going to clean up.
Don't
You're
worry.
going to have it way better than I did.
Don't worry, we have money.
And it's like, Matt, please stop.
Matt. Yeah, he calls him Matt.
What do you think he's gonna? He was like a sentient being when this man came into his life and just like, I'm your dad now. He's like, what?
Yeah. But according
do I have a
according to
mom?
Matt,
Yeah.
he absolutely would call him dad.
I don't think Ellie even calls Joel dad.
Okay, these are getting into spoilers. I don't appreciate it,
Sorry.
like, at all. I just appreciate no Last of Us 2 references or Last of Us 1
okay,
references
sorry,
for
just trying to keep it light.
the next
but
6 months.
Oh yeah, The Last of Us is a great game to keep it light with, Andrew. Let's.
Was that a slam? I'm confused. Was
To
that
Andrew,
like an insult
yes.
to
To The
Last
Last
of
of
Us?
Us, no.
Okay. I was going to say, is it an insult to Last of Us to be like, it's dealing with serious subject matter? What
Ryan,
a fucking
you
loser.
pussy.
You will know which part of the podcast I start giving it to The Last of Us and Last of Us 2.
Please don't give it to Last of Us 2. That feels like it's going to get unintentionally spoilery.
Is it a spoiler to bring up comments that the people who made the game have made?
Yes.
Fuck. Okay.
I have completely abandoned any and all references to that game ever.
Fine. I'll save it for when Andrew and I do a duo cast.
And I just won't listen, apparently.
Well, we also aren't going to talk about... I am not going to talk about The Last of Us with you, Lucas. That ship has sailed. On the podcast, at least.
I feel like the title of this episode has to be now, We Don't Talk About The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
It could be the title of every podcast.
Yeah, for the next 6 months. And then the titles of those, next podcasts for the next 3 months will be, We Talk About The Last of Us 2. You're gonna have your own personal hell when that game gets added to the best games of 2020.
Oh, bring it the fuck on.
Well, honestly, at this point, who does it have to compete with? So many games have been delayed due to COVID. The only games that really could have as competition for the most part, I believe, are Cyberpunk 2077, which may not even come out this year. We'll fucking see.
And Pokemon Snap.
Oh,
yeah.
what a segue.
Coming.
Going into news of the week. Fingers crossed Audacity isn't a bitch this time and I can actually edit in the transitions. Buckle up, bitches. We're getting a new Pokemon Snap. I am as enthused about this now as when it came out on Wednesday. I've maintained peak hype level for this.
Here you go. How many hours are you going to spend in this game, do you think, Lucas?
I could see this being probably 20 hours to finish the campaign, 30 to 35 for all the secrets and extra stuff.
Damn. And you're going to 100% the game?
Almost certainly.
Love it.
God, I wonder if I could muscle memory my way through Pokemon Snap right now. Probably.
I didn't know that it was a remake. Isn't it just a new game?
It is a sequel. Sorry, I was talking about the original. Okay. If I could still just muscle my memory through, yeah.
Gotcha.
And then you could take it down to the local Blockbuster and print that shit out on the giant machines that they have.
Why are you saying that like it's not dope?
I'm not saying it's necessarily bad. I'm just making a reference.
Okay. That was a little confrontational tone there, but all right.
There was a tone.
Thank you, Ryan.
I'm gonna agree
Andrew with a confrontational tone.
I didn't say confrontational. I said there was a tone. That's all I'm gonna say. It was delivered through pursed lips, even though I could not see you delivering it.
No, I'm very much looking forward to this. I think the original Pokemon Snap played a big role of kind of establishing and selling the idea of just being a person in the world of Pokemon and how kind of integral that is to the franchise's success.
Sure.
Okay.
Makes sense to me.
The
Switch doesn't have a camera, though, right?
It does not, no.
Damn.
I don't think they'll be able to go full AR with it, no.
They did make a game, though, that was AR, right? Other than
Pokemon
Go?
AR game? Yeah.
Did they make another one? I thought they made one. No, I'm forgetting.
Nintendo? Or specifically Pokemon?
I just thought that there was a Pokemon AR game other than Pokemon Go. Maybe it was just Pokemon Go.
No, there is.
Okay.
Or, well, at least they talked about it. I don't remember what it was. Pokemon AR game.
I mean, it's all going to be Pokemon Go. All of the results.
I'm sure. Okay, yeah, it's just Pokemon Go.
Rightfully. God, that is still quietly huge, isn't it?
I think they added a lot of features, right?
Yeah.
Live AR multiplayer.
A fun fact, Pokemon Go has lasted longer than the Confederacy.
No, it doesn't. No, it
It's
didn't.
not 5 years old yet.
Yeah. July of 2016. It's not even 4 years old.
It's coming up.
I don't think the Confederacy lasted a full 5 years.
I mean, it's not even 4, though.
Lifespan of Confederacy.
I mean, I appreciate the meme game, but...
Yeah, no, I appreciate it too. And it will last longer than the Confederates.
Absolutely.
And it will win more. Fucking bitches.
Come on. Provisional.
Yeah, Provisional Constitution, February of 1861. Debolation, May 5th, 1865. So
just over
4 years, 4 months. About 4 years, 3 months. So not quite. Check back in 4 months. And we will be able to say this with confidence. Put it in the planning doc for episode 126 or whatever.
Yeah. All right, I stand corrected. My math was incorrect.
This is fucking spiraling, but they definitely never taught in when would this have been, elementary and middle school history class, that Civil War, huge unit, failed to mention that the Confederacy was only a thing for less than 5 years.
I mean, it did, though, in that, like, they taught you that all these states, like, seceded from the Union in, like, the fallout from the 1860 election, and that when the Civil War was over, the United States was reunited. Like, so they I guess they don't explicitly say the Confederate States of America lasted 4 years, but, like, any amount of deductive reasoning would be like, yeah, I guess it kind of had to have lasted only 4 years. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I went to a northern public school where they were like, it was slavery.
Oh, yeah.
None of this northern aggression horse shit. They were just, yeah. No, like, some people will say states' rights, and we'll dive into, like, the complex, economic reasons behind, like, the Civil War. But the reason that there was economic reasons was because of slavery.
Like, we had both. When I went to school, we had both. At first, it was like, it happened because of slavery. And then it was like, well, there was a lot of complicated reasons. Like, people say slavery a lot, but it actually had more to do with blah, blah, blah. Slavery was already probably on the outs anyway, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like when you get into the teachers that actually give a shit and get deep into it, and they're like, it was slavery.
Yeah, it's like an inverted... Like, the people who know nothing say it was completely about slavery. The people who know a little bit and think they know a lot more than they actually do try to, like, dive into, complicated,
like, states' rights.
And then the people who actually know a lot say it was slavery. Again, just kind of wraps right back around.
And they're like, was it about states' rights? Absolutely. States' rights to do what, you might ask? Own slaves.
No, it was states' rights to govern themselves.
Yeah.
Why did they want to govern differently, you ask?
Because of slaves.
Yeah.
Oh, weird. We peeled back this onion, and there's just another fully formed onion in there. Like,
Yeah. There's this big onion that said slavery, and we were like, that can't be the end of it, so we peeled away. And we were like, look at all these different reasons. But then we got far enough, and we were like, oh, it's a different onion that's all about slavery. All right. Well, cool. Pokemon Snap and Slavery. Name a more iconic duo.
Cyberpunk coming out in September. Wait, no, never mind. That duo is broken up. Cyberpunk has once again been delayed, this time until November, or approximately a month before the PlayStation 5 is supposed to come out.
Well, we don't even know. Okay, so when was it? Like November 13th or something like that? November 17th?
November 19th.
One of those. 19th, okay. That may be, like, literally,
the launch
days
date
before.
Yeah. If it's Black Friday, when is Black Friday this year? Black Friday is the 20th, right?
Black Friday.
So is that one day before?
The 27th.
Oh, 27th. Okay, so a week before.
Yeah. So 1 week before, yeah.
1 week before Black Friday, which obviously might not be the actual launch date, especially with the state of things. Like, who knows? But, yeah, that would, it feels like it would make more sense to be a launch title. But then they would have to probably put more effort into it.
Well, maybe that's what it was. Like, maybe they thought, okay, we should put all this effort into it, because they had already said they were going to make a quote-unquote revamped version for Xbox Series X. Mm-hmm. So maybe they were going to do the same thing with PlayStation, and they kind of thought, like, we need, like, a little more time if we're going to, like, get all this shit done for, like, the launch of next gen. And then they kind of thought maybe, like, let's just fucking do it all at once.
I mean, they were operating under all these, like, restrictions for years. Mm-hmm. Like, how long has this game been in development? Like, you can't just all of a sudden take a hard right turn and, all right, everybody, we can now process roughly twice the amount of information in half the time. Like, let's just make it slightly prettier and put it out as a full product. Like, in theory, they would have to not go back to the drawing board, but really ramp things up.
Definitely rework some shit.
Yeah.
I know it hasn't been hyped up as much lately, but the PlayStation 5 is supposedly backwards compatible with a lot of PlayStation 4 games, so
a lot of them, yeah, we just don't really have a list.
Are we going to see a bundle happen where the PlayStation 5, like, it'll get $50 knocked off of it if you purchase it with a PlayStation 4 copy of Cyberpunk?
What? What?
Because you could play it on a PlayStation 5.
Yeah, I know, but why would that knock $50 off?
Because that's what people do with bundle. I don't know.
I mean, like, if they give it to you for free, like the game, like that's one thing as like part of the bundle. But they're not gonna like say like you buy a PlayStation and it's $500, or for $450 you can get a PlayStation and Cyberpunk.
Yeah, and a free AAA release. It'd probably be the same price, which I guess you'd be knocking $60 worth of value.
Is that what you're saying? And I just misunderstood?
Yes, just like a general... the PlayStation 5 is bundled with the PlayStation 4 game, is what I'm saying is a reality we might be living in a couple of months.
I would imagine that if they did that, they would just, like, scratch off the 4, and then it would just say, like, PlayStation. And it'd be compatible on both, maybe. I think that'd be pretty funny if it was a PS4 copy and they just had, like, a piece of duct tape over the 4. PlayStation.
And then we don't have to get too far in the weeds on this other facet of the Cyberpunk stuff, but like, yeah, this means that the developers making this game are absolutely crunching until November now instead of just September. And it's kind of wonky that apparently THQ Nordic has sent out review copies for this already, so like that might be...
Do we know if those were actually review copies though, or were they just they said like something like a version of the game has been sent out to journalists. And like they didn't say anything about review copies or anything like that. And if the game wasn't going to come out until September at that point anyway, why would they be sending review copies in June? Like, I thought maybe that they weren't actually review copies, that it was just like a teaser type thing. Like, here's 10 hours worth of the game on a fucking laser disc.
I mean, I could kind of see the argument of them sending out review copies a month or two ahead of time if this is going to be a 100+ hour game, but I don't know. I never saw a follow-up on that.
How... Here's my question. And this might be incredibly ignorant. Why do video games
exist?
No.
Sorry.
So I'm seeing people that are like, oh, they release half-assed products, you complain. They postpone stuff to polish it, you complain. And it's like, so it's not completely unruly, though, to just expect them to meet the date that they said they would meet.
Yeah.
Like, why is that insane? Like,
Yeah.
there shouldn't necessarily need to be crunch.
Mm-hmm.
There shouldn't necessarily need to be either the choice between a shitty game or a late polished game. Like, set the date at the right time.
Yeah.
Why is that hard?
Don't set the date earlier than you should, with the hopes that you'll be able to crunch it in by that time and probably have to delay it anyway. Just set a fucking later date.
Yeah.
And work
every
at a
other
pace.
medium, it's like totally chill. Things come out when they're supposed to come out.
Yeah.
Like, they don't announce them until they're for certain that that's when it's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
But video games, for some fucking reason, is just like, lols, let's fucking push for the earliest fucking possible date and just murder all of our employees with crunch time, slash release a half-polished game, or just end up delaying it inevitably. Just why? Why, man?
Well,
I don't get
because the people making video games, the superior medium, Ryan, are so much more dedicated to it than people making fucking books.
I got all my book developer team working round the clock to write this book.
Yeah. You got like 14 authors.
Due to the current situation, the next Hunger Games book won't be released until November of this year. But we promise when you release it, it will be the best version of itself.
Like, literally, what's stopping a game company from basically finishing a game and just needing to put the finishing touches on it and then be like, hey guys, in 3 months, this crazy cool game is coming out.
Yeah.
And then start marketing it and then, like, lead up to it. And then drop it because you were already basically done, but you just wanted to, put the finishing touches on it, and that's literally all you needed to do. Why is it different in video games? Is there something I'm missing?
The only thing that I can think of, and I am an ignorant, I am an ignorant, is that video game developers, like, whether it's part of the culture or just like the way that the business works, like, they want the money from initial sales like as soon as possible, and then immediately get the next product out.
You can announce that you're making this game, but why announce a date? This is the game we're working on. It's pretty cool. Maybe announce some teaser trailers, but never announce a release date and be like, all right, you can pre-order now if you're really into this sort of thing. We're not going to tell you when it's coming out. And then 3 months before, when you're already done with the game, basically, you can be like, guess what, guys? The date's here, 3 months. And then the people that were already trepidatious because there was no release date buy the pre-order then. And the people who were really, really into the concept had already bought the pre-order. And then 3 months is plenty of runway to market a product. Like, I don't know. To me, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Especially with the outrage that they receive over releasing partially finished games or delaying the release date, or crunching the fuck out of their employees so that they can actually make the release date on time. Like, they get criticism for all of that, and I just don't understand it. Why are they doing it that way?
And everybody knows when can easily learn when a movie enters production, so it's not like that's even a dissimilarity. So I don't know. My only thought is that unionization and worker rights in the gaming industry is much weaker than film or comparable medium. So maybe there hasn't been any kind of internal push, or an organized one at least, to kind of make that the norm in gaming. But that's
just the crunch part.
Yeah.
Like, the employee protection is literally only the crunch. Now you got to talk about, like, unfinished games that have day one patches of, like, 15 gigabytes and, like, games being delayed all the time. Like, that's not a thing, Like, I work in TV, and like, every single year a show has a premiere date, and it's the same premiere date. So guess what they do? They prepare. They start working far enough in advance that they hit that premiere date. And, like, right now, production is really weird and no one really knows what's going on. So guess what? We're not announcing premiere dates. Like, we're unsure of whether or not this thing is going to be completed in time. So we're not going to tell you when it's going to premiere because that'd be fucking dumb. Like,
and as somebody who works in an industry secondary to TV, that has been fucking us over, but totally get it.
Yeah. I don't understand. Doesn't make any sense.
Does people with spring arms make any sense?
No.
All that reach.
Are you talking about Nintendo Switch best-selling game ARMS?
And how a character from that is coming to Super Smash Bros. And it'll be announced tomorrow?
That game has characters?
ARMS or Smash Bros?
ARMS.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, okay.
They have like different hair colors.
Oh.
And apparently one of them's thick or whatever the fuck.
And another one's a clown. And yet another is cum.
Hey.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Something for everybody.
Yeah.
What's its name?
Fuck, let me... I want to say Helix.
Let's click on the link.
ARMS. I mean, it's something.
And ARMS Fighter.
I don't know if it's cum. Especially considering it like shoots DNA or some shit. It's definitely something. What if that's the one that they choose?
Oh man.
All these humanoid characters and they're like, let's go with the gooey one.
This boy look fucking dumb. Like, he looks like fucking Gumby. Gumby went to a rave. That's what happened here.
It is pretty Gumby.
Gumby is wearing fucking neon, glow-in-the-dark sticks and goggles.
Yeah. And by the way, it's Lola Pop is the thick one.
Well, I mean,
she also has the clown pants, so...
I think it's Twin Tail who's the thick one. Lola Pop is just the clown one.
Twin Tail Arms. Yeah, she's pretty thick. Twin Tail.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Ooh, she thick.
Damn, boy!
Braids?
She thick, boy!
Her fucking fighting arms are just her hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Huh.
That's your suspension of disbelief? Like
No, that was... I don't think that's any more ridiculous than any of the other shit we've seen from ARMS.
Yeah, you saw an animated, like you said, Gumby that went to a rave, and you're like, her hair punches. That's dumb. It's a prehensile tail.
I've seen 3 characters from ARMS now. Rave, Gumby, like sexy Pennywise, I guess, and fucking thick girl with braid arms. And so far, thick girl with braid arms is like by far the most like normal and like least offending to me.
Yeah.
'Cause, man, I really do not like this clown.
Yeah. But the one they show is just a dude with curly blue hair.
Spring Boy.
Boring.
Yeah, fucking lame.
I hope they don't add him. Come on.
I mean, wouldn't it just be like one of them and then they'd have skins of the other characters, or no?
Maybe they would do that for Spring Boy and Ribbon Girl, who are just kind of gender swapped, but yeah. Why do I know so much ARMS lore? I have never played this game.
Lucas is fucking
He's a closeted ARMS fan.
In Larms or.
Larms.
If anybody out there wants to get me on a Nintendo podcast, apparently I got stuff in the chamber.
I mean, you say apparently like you're surprised at your own Nintendo knowledge.
Wow, I, Lucas DeRider, know things about Nintendo that other people don't? Color me surprised.
Yeah, this isn't every single aspect of my life up until this point. Every conversation I've ever had with another human being, which is in reality realizing that I know more about Nintendo than them.
I would love to meet somebody who knew more about Nintendo than me.
Wouldn't we all?
And then I can kill them and reclaim my throne. Moving on to film. Unless there's anything in TV. Nah?
Yeah, production's weird.
Uh,
I think The Bold and the Beautiful started up production, but then a bunch of cast members and crew members tested positive, so it shut right back down.
Oh, that's... Didn't I see a thing where it's like...
Yeah, blow up sex dolls.
Oh, yeah, production's resumed, but, like, actors aren't supposed to be within 6 feet of each other, and, like, nobody's really sure how to film within the requirements.
Yeah, and they were going to use blow up sex dolls for all the sex scenes. But production is stopped now, so irrelevant.
There is a master puppeteer just going full beautiful mind room trying to figure out how to pull this off.
No, this is the best day of his fucking life.
Yeah.
He's like, my life's work realized.
He gets
they all thought I was crazy. Who's crazy now?
He gets the call from the studio exec, and he's just like, I'm retired. We need you for one last job, Mike. Come on down. We need you bad.
I told you I don't do that kind of stuff anymore.
I don't do that anymore. Mr. Johnson. You're going to have to pay me.
They finally convince him. They're like, what if we told you every sex scene will be done with a doll? He like...
You have my
looks
attention
over
for the next 60 seconds.
Yeah. And then he walks down to his basement, opens up the door, and it's just filled with sex dolls.
He walks
He's like, ladies, it's time.
Walks into the utility closet under his staircase and grabs a sledgehammer and starts hammering the concrete floor. But it's just sex dolls under the set of guns.
Dozens of sex dolls.
And they're all like half deflated because they've been under there for like years. The first thing he does is grab one and start blowing it up with his mouth. Time to go.
AMC theaters will reopen. That was deleted actually. In July, and wasn't going to require people to wear face masks because they didn't want to be political. But then walked that back after people pointed out how dumb they were being.
Yeah. Fucking insane.
Is that is Tenet still coming out at the end of July?
July 29th.
Ooh.
I thought it was 31st.
Nope, 29th. And the 15th for the Inception re-release.
Ooh.
This says July 31st for Tenet.
Interesting. Maybe the world premiere is the 29th? I live in LA.
You can go to that.
We get movies before everyone.
It's different for you.
Yay. I mean, the 31st is a Friday, and yeah, movies in LA definitely don't launch on Fridays. Ha ha ha.
We don't have to wait for our films to arrive in the mail.
Yeah. I mean, I should probably start looking into how to get fucking tickets, because since theaters are going to be at 20 to 49% capacity...
Yeah,
this movie is going to be fucking difficult in LA for like weeks. It's going to be hard to get in. So,
do you think we're going to sell any concessions?
Yeah.
Huh. All right.
I mean, they have like restaurants right now that are open, so the concessions are pretty low impact in comparison.
Fair. All right, barring anything else, that will take us into the meme corner.
The memes.
I think okay, yeah, you know what? Just fucking go for it, Ryan.
Are you talking about the brown shitberry writing?
No, I'm talking
the red writing.
Oh, I thought
we already covered that.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah. There was going to be a big Trump rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
What are you talking about was going to be?
It was going to be on Juneteenth, and then that got walked back to the 20th, the day after Juneteenth. And they were expecting, like, literally 1 million people in a city of 100,000 to show up to this rally.
He said 1 million people are going to show up, and then, like, later his campaign, it's like, well, we got 1 million RSVPs. We probably expect, like, 100,000, but that's still a fuckload of people. We thought 100,000 people were going to show up in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Tesla, Oklahoma.
Tulsa. Or was it Tolis? He said Tolis. Yeah, Tolis, Oklahoma.
Yeah. So then instead, you know, they had like the indoor theater and then the indoor stadium, which held 20,000 people. Then they had like an outdoor viewing area because they were like, oh no, we're not going to be able to
overflow.
So we'll have a big screen, and then he'll go out to speak to the outdoor people after the indoor people. And like people had been showing up early, so it seemed confirmed that it was going to be a big fucking deal. And then the event started, and people quickly realized this stadium is not even half full. And then I think today the Tulsa Fire Department reported the actual number at the rally, and it was like 6,200 people. And like it was streamed online, and a lot of people watched that. So, but I mean, you know, a lot less effort than actually going to a giant rally and everything. And then the memes started rolling in with TikTokers and K-pop stans claiming sole responsibility for the low turnout by just flooding the ticket registration system and registering for tickets and then not showing up to the event. And that led to all sorts of random shit. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez thanked K-pop stans on Twitter for their heroic efforts. And then people started responding to her saying like, oh, so you're okay with the North Korean and South Korean government interfering in our elections? Which I just... First of all, AOC was definitely, like, making a joke.
Yep.
Second of all, do you really think K-pop stans are the government?
I don't think they know what K-pop stans are.
That's
to
true.
Be fair.
Or
like,
K-pop.
the term stan is very much an English term. Like, for me at least, when I think of a K-pop stan, I'm definitely thinking of an American obsessed with K-pop. Yeah, anyway, it was just a whole thing. Like, you had to use an actual phone number, which they were doing. Like, they were using their real phone numbers to confirm and grabbing 2 tickets apiece. And then, in some cases, like, convincing their parents to use their phone numbers and stuff like that. And just flooding the registration system. And, apparently leading the campaign to think that they were not necessarily going to have 1 million people there, but definitely a lot more than they ended up with.
And the thing is that it's not like they purchased tickets and then that prevented other people from being able to take that seat, because it was going to be a first come first serve thing. You didn't really like buy a seat. I assume that there was like VIP shit and that kind of stuff, but it was going to be like you reserve a spot at the rally, and if you could get in, you would get a seat, and if not, you'd be in the overflow area. So it's not like they purchased all the tickets and they were sold out, because anyone that would have showed up and, you know, had been registered would have been able to get in there and fill those seats. But they didn't.
Yeah.
And the campaign's come up with several reasons. You know, they said, you know, the K-pop stans definitely did not do this. We, you know, filtered through all the fake phone numbers. So there. And they're like, okay, well then why did no one show up? If you did such a good job of fucking filtering out fake numbers, why is nobody there? And they're like, violent protesters prevented people from reaching there. Like, we can see that there were people on the streets for like 10 minutes, and the police just moved them over to the side, and then people were able to move through. So that didn't fucking stop it. And they're like, oh, the reason people actually didn't show up is because Antifa were threatening violent protests and, attacks and stuff, and people didn't want to bring their families. Well, I mean, you fucking made that up, too, so... Come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
People didn't want to go.
Well, I mean, and they would have the convenient, realistic out if they said, we're in the middle of a global pandemic, and maybe they didn't want to gather together with 10,000 other fucking people in close contact. But they can't say that because that'd be admitting their own irresponsibility.
Yep, because they just spent the last fucking 3 weeks saying that it wasn't a big deal and downplaying the issue and...
And throwing a rally. It doesn't matter what their actual, what they're saying. Like, if they're hosting a giant event where everyone sits shoulder to shoulder and, screams and cheers, most without masks on,
they're like, of course people didn't show up. They're not fucking stupid like us.
But, the average age of a Trump supporter is what? If you had to guess, 60? You're automatically, getting into, a risk area. Dumb. Dumb.
They are in fact dumb. Yes, right.
Just saying, it's a dumb move.
Yes.
Goddamn.
agree.
There's nothing that they could say, so they're just gonna pretend that it was fine.
Yeah, there are a million reasons why this could have gone wrong, and it could be any number of them or a combination of all of them. None of which shine favorably upon the administration.
Yeah. I'm surprised that they didn't just straight up lie and say it was full, it was a sellout. And then they post pictures and they're like, fake news.
I mean, fucking Fox News did go on and say, this stadium's packed, and they just used, a really long lens, and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his campaign used cropped images.
Yeah, and they're like, look, everyone's here. No, they're not.
I mean, it makes sense to use cropped images. That I don't blame them for. That's pretty,
No, but, they used the cropped images, and then the Fox News people were like, look at all the people here. It's packed in here. When, if you just, turned for, a split second, you could see, there's, 75% of the stadium empty at this point, and 5 minutes until the rally starts.
And they could have appropriately spaced everyone out to keep social distancing.
They could have just fucking flung them across the stadium.
Kept all their supporters safe. Nah, why do that? The election's only in 5 months. It's not like you need every single vote possible and killing. I mean, how many people are going to die from this rally? Let's be honest. At least a few.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a few.
So, doesn't seem very smart.
No, he already covered that base. He said that he intentionally didn't do more testing because the more testing he would have done, the more people would have died.
Yeah, he did say he wanted to slow down testing.
Yeah, ramping down testing.
Because he's like, when you get all these positive results and people getting the virus, it confuses people, so we got to slow down testing so they don't keep getting confused. It's you just want to slow down testing so you can be like, look, I defeated coronavirus.
Yeah. Most people aren't spending any time in actual hospitals, so
yeah.
Basically turn a blind eye to it like the AIDS crisis. Just pretend it's literally not happening as, tens of thousands of... let's be honest, probably a majority, your supporters, fucking die because of your inaction. Sounds good. Gotta love it. Gotta love it when the liberal passion extends more to Republican supporters than fucking Republican compassion.
He drank a glass of water, Ryan. He is above criticism.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
With one hand.
And he still looked weird doing it, and you could tell he probably went to 2 full weeks of physical therapy in order to be able to do that at the rally specifically. He's like, God, they fucking noticed, guys. I need to lift this arm to my mouth, okay? Get me someone in here that can teach me again how to raise my arm to my mouth. And they're like, all right, you got it. I made a big fucking deal out of it.
Installs a robot brace that has hydraulics and shit in it. Just fucking 21st century problems require 21st century solutions.
You just notice that there's a little bit of a sheen, and you notice a fishing wire attached to the
Hey, it's Mike,
like
the sex
yeah,
doll
it's Mike.
puppet.
Like, we
like,
need
God
you for
damn it, I'm
one
retired.
more job, Mike.
Production shut down on Bold and the Beautiful. I'm retired officially
He's
now.
like, let me guess. More sex dolls? No, this one's different.
This goes all the way up.
You pull
You
off
got
this
my
job,
attention.
you'll be swimming in sex dolls.
Yeah, you'll get all the sex dolls you want.
His work is just using sex dolls, but then his like payment is just getting more sex
Yeah.
dolls. So
He's
he has
running
all
a
these
pyramid
sex
scheme.
dolls.
It's a sex doll pyramid scheme. The harder you work, the more sex dolls you get, and the more sex dolls you get, the better you work. It's a fucking positive feedback loop if I've ever seen one. My God. This man is gonna be drowning in sex dolls. Yeah. Good God. Is your wannabe dictator struggling with basic motor functions?
Come to Mike's sex dolls.
21st century problems require 21st century solutions. Have people on social media noticed very stilted movement, representative of a declining physical and mental state?
Mike's sex dolls.
Mike's sex dolls is the answer for you.
FDR had polio and is one of the most fondly recalled presidents in American history. If he just admits
Not to Republicans.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
Republicans fucking hate FDR.
Yeah.
He was a socialist.
He was farther left than anyone will ever see in the office of the presidency ever again, most likely. Hooray.
AOC, please just run for president already.
No, she
AOC
wouldn't
will
win.
not win the presidency.
No fucking way.
Yeah, maybe 50 years from now or some
Yeah,
shit.
no, when AOC is like old as shit and like, I don't know, like maybe we've gotten around to like socialism being more acceptable. Sure. But
I mean, but that seems...
at that point, she'll be a fucking dime a dozen.
That seems far more... that seems more unlikely than the exact opposite happening, though. And just more and more fascist right-wing governments creeping farther and farther to the right until that becomes more acceptable.
Is that more likely?
Yes.
I'm just saying. No. I'm agreeing. I'm just saying that like that is the only, in my opinion, the universe where AOC is able to run for president successfully.
Sure.
Excuse me.
That is fair.
All right, I think that will
But
take
we'll be
us.
dead by then, one way or another.
Or abroad.
Yay.
God, to live in a vineyard in Spain. Moving on to the breakouts.
Breaking in so we can break out, breaking in so we can break out, breaking in so we can break out, breaking out.
Andrew can't talk about his thing. Ron, you got anything you want to bring up?
Oh, man. I've gotten really into Madden challenges. Tomorrow is the world-famous Monday Night Football Showdown, broadcast live on twitch.tv/ibeforeez.
Oh!
And we're going to figure out once and for all who's got the better hypothetical Packer team where you add 4 players, one from each team in any division.
That stream's going to be public, right?
Yeah, man. They all
All
are.
right.
I don't think
My,
you can make private streams on Twitch.
I didn't like. I really don't know. I don't know anything about using Twitch.
Yeah, that was one of Lucas's core gripes with, was it the second season of...
First season
Oh, was it the
of
first
American
season of
Vandal because
American Vandal?
it relies on a character having a private, risque Twitch stream that couldn't exist. Yeah.
Okay, but like, there are many sites that would facilitate a private risque stream.
Right.
And granted, Twitch is not one of them, but, you know, for simplicity of concept. Anyway.
But yeah, Andrew versus Ryan, Green Bay Packers versus the Buffalo Bill Green Bay Packers.
No, the Green Bay Packers wearing Buffalo Bill uniforms. So they are still called the Green Bay Packers, based out of Green Bay, Wisconsin, playing in Lambeau Field.
Again,
So-
the regular Green Bay Packers?
Yep.
Well,
also
plus,
against the Green
plus
Bay
a
Packers.
few notable additions.
Yeah, and some random players. And then I
My
thought,
sister is
what
going to
else-
watch that stream.
What else can I use my duplicating powers for? What if I just created teams of the best players on their teams? And I've been simulating those games and watching them play out. Today we had an interesting wrinkle develop.
Ooh.
Really?
Khalil Mack had been the dominant one that I had created so far. Turns out that defense is very dominant when you create a team of only one player. If that player's on defense, then they can play all 11 defensive positions, and that kind of fucking dominates. Like, it's really tough to get an offensive player who can play anything on defense and also, like, you know, be a decent quarterback and decent O-lineman and decent receiver, like all that shit. So it's usually just better to just get a defensive player who can do everything on defense and still kind of try on offense. But today made a team of J.J. Watts because he's the best player on the Texans. And J.J. Watt is interesting because he played a little tight end for the Texans back in the day. So I think Madden left him with some blocking stats and like a decent amount of receiving stats as well. So he's pretty good on offense other than throwing the ball. And that makes it interesting. And then Christian McCaffrey can kind of throw and then obviously can catch and run. So that was interesting, that showdown. But J.J. Watt won. And to be honest, McCaffrey was never completely in it. So we're going to see about that one.
Well, hey, Derrick Henry threw a touchdown pass in the playoffs, so...
Derrick Henry does also have a decent throwing stat.
I was going to say, he could probably play quarterback fairly well.
He definitely can't play quarterback fairly well. The problem with Derrick Henry is...
I mean, compared to, like, an O-lineman, maybe.
He'll be slightly better than an O-lineman, but he's, like, basically the same throwing stats as Christian McCaffrey, but Christian McCaffrey is a much better receiver, and, like, you know, he has better running back stats, even, just as a baseline. So, really, he's just good at all the things Henry does, and then slightly better in a couple of areas. So, in theory, Derrick Henry would just be a slightly worse Christian McCaffrey. So, but yeah, it's an interesting game watching them play a little bit. That's what I've been doing.
Nice.
So if this works well tomorrow night, and it's like a fun thing, is this something we're going to do like every week? Where we come up with some
Monday night
like random ass scenario, like this team, but whatever, and then like every Monday we play that out.
The theme song works.
What?
Monday Night Football on Twitch TV. That's ridiculous.
Yes.
What are the odds? Yeah, I'd be down. I mean, we'd probably have to. You know.
And hey, maybe this just doesn't work. You know, maybe it's not entertaining, but I think it's going to be fun.
It'll work. The stream won't have our voices on it because
That's
I want to
good.
watch it live with you guys.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, I would have to, have to delay like you guys. So I guess I could really go hard and like download OBS and like,
Don't worry about it.
put a delay on audio input, but only specific sources of audio input and blah 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 blah. But in reality, I'll just stream the game and we'll all watch the stream on Skype or whatever we use. So there you go. It's gonna be fun.
I am still playing Persona 5 The Royal. I'm still enjoying it. About halfway through it now. I'm getting some weird libertarian vibes from the new girl they added to the game, and I'm not into it. And I'm hoping this is just a part of her character arc, and she realizes that social safety nets are a good thing.
What's the odds that happens?
Libertarians are known broadly for learning lessons and changing their worldview.
But what if they're really into gymnastics and motivated by a dead sibling?
Aren't all libertarians at some level?
Inarguably. That will take us into the group chat. So episode 100, finally going to tell the pants story, but now that we're here, I'm not sure I know the best way to do it.
I agree. I thought, oh, we're going to do this and it's going to be really funny. And now I'm like, I don't know how to tell this story anymore. Maybe Ryan could.
Yeah, the unbiased narrator, and you guys can play
We
your
can
voice
just
actors.
listen. Yeah.
Oh, okay, or you can do that.
Ryan,
Oh.
yeah, actually, maybe Ryan should take this one. You were just in the aftermath. You weren't a part of you weren't directly, yeah.
Ryan was like
was
having a
there.
burrito, sitting at the table in between eating a burrito, watching this go down.
Ryan, you only had your evening ruined by this. You didn't have
I
what
didn't
at
have
the
my
time
evening
was-
ruined.
Oh, okay. Well,
It made
okay.
me laugh. Am I a bad person for thinking it was kind of funny? Everything that you guys said.
I mean, it was funny. Like objectively, it was funny.
Okay, good.
That's why we laugh about it every time we bring it up.
Now, but okay.
I
Okay.
think we all laughed about it. I think even you had like that incredulous laugh when the nuclear bomb went off, Andrew. Even you
Yeah,
were
no,
kind
I
of like,
did.
oh my god.
No, it was very funny. It hurt me deep. It cut real deep. But I knew objectively, like, this is really fucking funny.
All right. So, on one fine winter's evening, sun's beginning to set on the beautiful college town of Madison, Wisconsin. 4 friends were walking down the eponymous State Street. Ryan, Andrew, Lucas, and Jade just looking for some place to go eat. And I can't remember if we decided yet, but I think we were really into either Chipotle or Qdoba. And somehow we ended up at Qdoba. Don't know how. It happened. I now look upon this story and shudder at the choice. Choosing Qdoba
Wow.
over Chipotle, but it happened. We were there, and it's tasty. So we order, we go through the line, we're all having fun. We take off our winter coats. The store is only like a quarter of the way filled. It's relatively quiet. I think it was a weekday night, so it wasn't super busy or anything. And yeah, we all sit down to enjoy a nice meal. We're trading stories, having a laugh like friends usually do.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lucas decides to chime in with the story that I'm not going to pass judgment on it. I don't even remember the exact words, but I remember the basics were, so I went into a store and I bought a pair of pants. And then I brought them home and I realized they were too small. So now I need to return a pair of pants or something like that. And then
I don't even
was-
think I own those pants anymore.
I would hope not. They were too small.
No, that wasn't.
Is that not it? Oh,
I believe the point of Lucas's story was that he went somewhere and he bought a pair of pants because he had tried it on and they fit, and he was really shocked because most pairs of pants don't fit him, but this one did, and he was excited about that. He was excited
That's
about
true.
the pair of pants he bought.
Yeah. And then there was a good 5 seconds of silence. And then Andrew just chimes in, cool fucking story, man. And I believe everyone was laughing except for Lucas. So then Andrew started feeling bad about it and was just kind of like, oh, come on, I was joking. We were having fun. Like, hey, you can insult me. Like, get me right back. It's all good. So, like, I think me and Jade at that point exchanged a look of, like, not a good idea, but it happened. And then at this time, there was probably a good 20-second pause of silence. And Andrew was, like, staring at Lucas for most of it, but then would, like, break eye contact to, like, kind of look at me and Jade like, oh shit, what's happening? And I think Lucas should deliver what he finally came up with after the 20-second pause.
I'm gonna get so fucking triggered.
PTSD.
Andrew, you're not creative. You're just.
And
There was definitely more.
Yeah, there
in
was a rant.
It was like Andrew, you're not creative. I genuinely worry about your future and what you're going to try to do with your life because I don't think you have it. And it's like, I don't think you have the ability to succeed in a creative world. And like that was kind of the thing.
And I think there was a line in it that was somewhere along the lines of like, I have come to believe that creativity is an inherent trait. And I know for a fact that you do not have any of it.
I blanked out most of that. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think you blacked out.
I think the finisher was, and like this is what like really like sealed it for him. It's like, I don't think you have a creative bone in your body.
Yeah, that was definitely the last line.
Yeah.
And there was incredulous, nervous laughter from me and Jade exchanging glances. I think Andrew laughed a little, but then it kind of started to sink in. And it devolved into like, holy fucking shit, Lucas. You didn't have to end this man's fucking life.
He asked me to.
I asked you to get me back. I didn't ask you to fucking murder my family.
Yeah. It was like fucking Abed in Community when he's the insult robot who's been picking up on things that are wrong with people for years, but knew it wasn't okay to say them, and then thought he was given the okay and just let it loose.
I want you to know that this, like first off, that did like fuck me up for like a long period of time, and like Jade would be like, Andrew, no, it's fine. Like he was just trying to get you. Like that's not true. I'm like, no, Jade, I think that's it. Like I don't think I have what it takes. Like I don't think I got anything going for me. I was smarter than people in like middle school, and I could write good papers for like an 8th grader, and I just kind of ran with that for a while, and it's not happening anymore. And then like I'll be working on stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna work on like a personal project, and then I inevitably never fucking do it because I just hear Lucas in the back of my mind. You don't have a creative bone in your body, Andrew.
I don't want to pile on, but that should be a motivator more than a demotivator. I don't know about you.
And should
Maybe
be,
you and me are
and, like,
built completely differently, but for me, that'd be the voice that I hear in my head when I'm like needing motivation to do something creative.
Well,
but I guess it has the opposite effect for you.
That was something that like after, you know, the initial, I don't know, couple of months of dealing with that, I was like,
Initial couple months of therapy.
I'm like Lucas doesn't know what it takes. Like I can still do it, and then I'll like work on some stuff and finish it. And I'll be like, this fucking sucks. Lucas is right. It's not good enough. God damn it.
I'm sorry I did too good a job at what you asked me to do.
I'm sorry your feelings got hurt.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
I am admitting no faults for this, but at the same time, I feel bad that you feel bad.
So that
Maybe
was the
just
pants
make
story.
polite small talk next time, you know?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too.
Lucas goes in. He does not accept being made fun of.
Did you? So like Lucas, when you say you blacked out, you didn't have like a moment where you looked at the camera and said, "I'm gonna end this man's whole career."
Well,
Yeah, when did it click in your head that you weren't just going to say like,
Get him back. You were
yeah,
just
like
gonna-
Andrew, your fucking bangs look dumb. Like just like a base level insult, like of a temporary quality. When did it click in your head? Time to fucking scar this human being. Because you targeted an area that you had probably identified as an insecurity of Andrew's. That Andrew had probably confided in you late at night. That sometimes I just worry that I'm not that creative.
I do not recall him confiding any kind of idea like that in me. Honestly, it was the first thing that sprang into my mind when I thought, okay,
That's so
how
much
do I
worse.
hurt Andrew?
Okay, so, but like when you want to hurt someone, you do target an area of insecurity more so than
Yeah.
like an area of actual need. Because, like, there's people that are overconfident in areas that they're shitty at, and if you just targeted that, they'd be able to just brush it off. So you kind of have to, go after the areas where they're not going to be very secure in them, or, like, there's a kernel of truth to it, and they know it. So...
Yeah, you can't just say, like, a general insult, and you can't just say something that's, like, well-known. So, like, I couldn't tell Lucas, like, oh, I'm gonna get you back, you're short, because you're not. And it doesn't make any sense. But then...
cocked is what you're saying?
What?
Lucas is too perfect. I couldn't insult him back.
Well, no, I mean, like, you can't just, like, make something up about them that, like, clearly isn't true.
Sure.
And you also can't just say something that, like, everyone knows. I couldn't then just be like, Lucas, you're a weeb, because, like, that's like part of the whole fucking shtick.
It's a part of the package. That was on the box, yeah.
I don't even really know, like, a Lucas version of what he did to me.
I mean, the appropriate insult, I feel like, would have been similar to the one that you levied against Andrew during poker last night of, like, the, oh, whatever, Andrew, go date another Kayla or something like that. Like, just, like, light ribbing, definitely. Like, insulting an aspect of their personality in an oblique way.
One of the funniest, and it doesn't really hold up now because we've grown past that, but I remember there was a period in, like, high school, Lucas, where I said something that was definitely, like, kind of mean, but, like, you know, again, like, more of, like, the ribbing kind of stuff, and I made fun of something you were wearing. I'm like, oh, nice, like, nice shirt, Lucas, and then you looked at me, and you, like, looked me up and down, and you said, you're wearing short socks with jeans that aren't quite as long enough, or, like, aren't quite long enough, and you look like a fucking idiot, Andrew. I'm like, wow, that was really good. And, like, now I always think, like, man, I gotta make sure that my pants are long enough and my socks are long enough.
Stop letting me live in your head, please.
No, I mean, like, that was a good one. Like, that was some good shit. The pants thing really just ended me, man.
Question, Andrew.
Yeah.
Have you, I mean, and this is doctor-patient confidentiality, so don't answer if you don't want to, but have you been to therapy since then, and has it been brought up?
I have not been to therapy since
Damn
then.
it. If you went to therapy, would it be brought up to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So here's the thing. I was thinking last night, like, I think, you know, maybe, like, I've always been an advocate for people, like, going to therapy and that kind of stuff. And, like, I went to therapy a long time ago, and I was kind of thinking, like, maybe it would just be a good thing to do it again. And then I was like, what would I, you know, talk to a therapist about to try to, like, make things, you know, a little bit better in my life? And, like, for just a split second, it was like a frame in a movie, like, that moment popped up and then it went away.
Oh my God.
I'm like, oh, I'll just expand on something more general. I won't just go on, like, when I was in college, my friend made fun of me.
So, like, that is what, there's two parts of your brain, right? And one has this, like, two halves of your brain. One has the speech center and one doesn't. Mm-hmm. So, like, yeah, the other part of your brain that has no speech center, that is kind of like its own person, might have been even more scarred than the part that you're able to verbalize. So yeah, like your right brain was thinking, oh, you know, like, what would I even say? And then your left brain, like, screamed at the top of its lungs, like, this. And then your right brain kind of buried it again, like, no, that's not that big. Not that big of a deal. No problem. And your left brain is just screaming internally like the Netflix caption. Oh, man.
I'm genuinely sorry if that was traumatizing. Please don't ask me to hurt you again.
I'm sorry that this happened, Andrew. Don't make me do it again.
Yeah. You say it with the same, like, cadence as a friend who, like, blew their own hand off with a firework. Like, I'm really sorry that happened to you. At the same time, probably don't play with fireworks ever again.
Because it's the only way I cannot feel shitty about this, right? Is that I have the out of you asked for this.
I don't have to. I don't have to feel bad about this. You asked
a little
for
bit
it.
of victim blaming, but that's fair.
Oh,
Oh, man. Just legendary.
That's it.
Well, that's the thing is that, like, on the podcast, I try to kind of, like, equally give, like, small amounts of shit to everybody. And there are moments where, like, I think, like, maybe I went too far, like with the Pokemon Snap thing, when I was making fun of it earlier this week in the quarantine cast. And immediately my brain will be like, back off, fetal position, you don't know what's going to happen next, you don't know how they're going to respond. Lucas might say you're not creative again.
Or he might spoil the entirety of Last of Us 2.
Yeah, just
Which
fucking
he threatened
end
to
me.
do. Yep. You never know. I feel like it's definitely a thing in male friendships to lightly poke fun at people, but then at the same time it is also like the source of one of the biggest sources of like friction in male friendships, even though it's like a core element of them. So definitely a thing that needs to be very carefully honed and calibrated. And definitely when I arrived in college, I needed to fucking recalibrate that shit so fast because I grew up through high school in a very different environment of a much more tolerance of ripping people to shreds, and I definitely like lost more than one friend in the early days of college from not having dialed back the ribbing properly. So then I calibrated to, like keep it very light and don't touch on anything too sensitive. And then, 2 years later, my Geiger counter for male friends ribbing each other just fucking went off the charts. And I'm like, oh my God.
God, that
Flashbacks to middle school.
That is such a weird thing about college I never realized, and nobody ever mentioned to me that there is a high chance that the people you hang out in the first 2 weeks of college you're just never going to talk to again.
Yeah, I think everyone had a couple of them, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, haha, this is appropriate. This is how you have fun. And then they'll fire right back with their own, and it'll just be a good old, almost like an improv comedy thing. Ha ha ha. No one taking it too seriously. And then they would just go okay. And just not and you'd be like, fuck me, okay. And then you'd realize that they just kind of withdraw and not hang out with you at all. And you're like, Jesus Christ. I sank a friendship by trying to do a bit that I thought would strengthen it. All right. Note taken. Oh, man.
All right. That's it, everybody. That is the infamous pants story, which also in the running to be the title of this episode. Thank you so much for listening to the 100th episode of Voluntary Viewing. Thank you for all of your support so far, and thank you to everybody who is going to give their future support. If you like this episode, please physically like it by clicking on the appropriate button, subscribing for more, leaving a comment, leaving a rating, yada yada yada. You can send us your questions and business partnerships at voluntaryviewing@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter for updates at V2_podcast. Check us out on Patreon to join the likes of Sensual Richard Nixon, Sucky Badger, and Tiffany Cole, and donate some money to make this podcast possible. And of course, you can check me, Lucas the Writer, the arbiter of the infamous pants story, out on Twitter at Lucas the Writer. And you would not be the first person to send me insults over Twitter if you wanted to get in on this game, but okay.
Just fucking know he will end you.
Yeah, no. If you're thinking about going after Lucas on Twitter, let me be an example. Do not do that shit. For your own safety, leave him alone.
This is one of my best fucking friends, guys, okay? This is what I did to somebody I like. Imagine if you're a stranger.
Yeah. I melted this man's brain, and I've known him since childhood. I don't even know you.
And now we're goading people to come at me on Twitter. Fantastic. Thank you all so much for listening to the past 100 episodes. Here is to 100 more, and that will take us to a clap sync.
Also, we missed the 2-year anniversary, which was a month ago.
I thought it was in
was,
June. Was it in May?
May 28th.
God.
The day that we recorded the first episode. I don't know when it posted, but I looked back and I still have my file from the first episode.
We're
So there you go.
old.
We are old.
We got Zoomers coming after us on TikTok.
Yeah, we do.
You know what else tick-tocks? The clock.
Clocks on time.gov.